This is News Today with WDW News Today. I'm Tom Corliss of WDWNT.com. Please like this video, subscribe, and hit the notifications bell to make sure you never miss the latest from the Disney theme parks around the world. Here now the news for December 28th, 2022. As a special Christmas present, the host of Good Morning America took us on a brief sneak peek into the seemingly complete TRON Lightcycle run at Magic Kingdom. Footage was shared on the Christmas morning broadcast where hosts were at Walt Disney World waiting for the Disney Parks Christmas Day Parade broadcast to begin. They weren't there live, it's just all for show. But nonetheless, as part of a special sneak peek, they were able to climb on board and ride through the grid. We got to see a little bit of the queue, not really, we mostly saw the load area, and we got to see the host of the show actually ride the ride, which would indicate that it's done, that it's just about ready to go and could open. Of course, as we've told you before, the rumor is that previews for pass holders and Club 33 and Disney Vacation Club and all of those affinity groups will be in the month of March, with the official opening set for very early April. And of course, the ride is absolutely identical to the one that opened in 2016 at Shanghai Disneyland. Then, during the Disney Parks Magical Christmas Day Parade special that aired directly after on ABC, they shared another preview of TRON Lightcycle Run with Trevor Jackson and Daniela Perkins of Grownish meeting with Imagineer Chris Beatty for a behind-the-scenes look. They visited the load area and saw cast members riding the coaster, but notably the actors of Grownish were not allowed to ride the coaster yet and still had to wear orange vests and hard hats. My theory is that GMA went to film after this, that the Grownish cast probably went earlier in November, and then GMA went and filmed sometime between then and now. And that was why they got to ride and the Grownish cast maybe did not, or maybe, I don't know, maybe their representatives were like, oh, the ride isn't open to the public yet. I don't know if it's safe. Don't let them ride. I don't know what the story is, but either way, the Grownish cast did not get to ride. The anchors from Good Morning America did, and either way, the ride is absolutely the same as we knew this, as it is in Shanghai Disney. So if you want a full preview of the ride, we filmed it when we went to Shanghai Disneyland. You can watch it right here on the channel. If you'd rather just see the Good Morning America segment or the one from the parade, we do have both of those up here on the channel as well for you to enjoy. So go check them out. As much of the ride as you want spoiled as you'd like, you can go watch. Nearby, the Tomorrowland Light and Power Company in Magic Kingdom is being updated ahead of the opening of TRON Lightcycle Run. The Space Mountain gift shop is currently closed with no firm reopening date, and part of the retheming is removing all of the Tomorrowland 1994 elements from the shop, including the giant gears above the entrance. But now, as of today, the giant clock, the electrical tower mural, and the themed signage from the exterior are all gone as well. What you're looking at now is how the facade looked just a few weeks ago, and now what it looks like today. Given that these elements are connected to the long-dead 1994 version of Tomorrowland that Disney has been slowly erasing for the last several years, it's safe to assume these elements will not return, and we wouldn't be surprised to see the remaining text covered or removed, or even see the shop return with a new name and or theme to distance itself from the original concept as part of that working city of the future. A scrim now covers the damage left by the clock's removal, but some damage still visible nonetheless. And construction walls remain up around the shop, with guests exiting through a temporary corridor after they ride Space Mountain. And work continues on the side and the back of the Tomorrowland Light and Power Company as well. The assumption is this will be ready ahead of TRON. Unlike Shanghai Disneyland, we did not build a dedicated store for TRON. And so I imagine that all the TRON merchandise is going to go in here, and Space Mountain and TRON are going to kind of share the store. That's my theory. I don't know anything from anyone, but that's what I'm going with for now. We'll wait and see what happens. As maintenance issues continue to compound across Walt Disney World, it seems even standards of cleanliness have been tossed to the side for many things. And just this week, on a visit to the Magic Kingdom, it revealed what may be one of the most disgusting sights we've ever seen at the parks. The boats of It's a Small World, which are usually bright and colorful, starting to turn absolutely black. The yellow boats in particular highlight the issue best. Black grime runs across the side of the boat. The pattern extends well above the waterline of the boat. I know a lot of people will say this is from rubbing or whatever it may be, but nonetheless, the whole side of the boat looks filthy. It would seem unlikely that the boats have been hosed down and scrubbed probably for weeks or months, and the gunk runs along the entire side of the boat, even up to where guests are seated, and it gets worse, of course, towards the center of the boats where they do lie on the water. Perhaps even the water within the attraction is not as clean as it ought to be. We don't really know. Either way, you should never stick your hand in it, kids. Don't do that. The ride itself is in not great shape also, as it has been for a long time, going back to when we used to do the maintenance report. The lighting is horrendous. The whole thing seems dim, and just dim and dark. Several figures don't work, or they're malfunctioning, or they're missing. But the boats are, I don't know how that's allowed. That's pretty rough. So after we posted this, several readers and viewers decided to send us some things they had seen on their trips. These are things they had photographed. They were already home already. These are things they thought to photograph while they were visiting. So first off, we've got these dirty interiors of the Tomorrowland Transit Authority People Mover cars. Amelia sent in these photos of the People Mover car with black lines across the bottoms of the seats. Of course, it makes sense that part could get dirty. Guests do rest their feet there during the ride, but still the dirt is egregious and spreads beyond the foot line. She also shared photos of dark spots on the arms of the People Mover benches. And even more dangerous is this black mold in Toy Story Land, shared by Vincent. The mold is spotted across the top of the round Tinker Toy at the base of a support pole, as well as in the holes of the sides. There's also trash on the ground in the corner of the photo, too, just to top it off. And the dirtiness extends beyond the basic responsibilities of regular custodial cast members, who can be frequently spotted in their all-white uniforms throughout the parks. Attraction vehicles need regular maintenance, including cleaning after hours when guests aren't in the park, and these areas that are off limits also do as well. So this is, I honestly haven't spent a lot of days in the Walt Disney World theme parks the last couple months. We have reporters that go, and I pop in to check in new stuff every now and then, and generally I do a lot of travel to go cover some of the international stuff or the cruise line. And so I kind of had been staying away from the park, so I knew my parents were going to visit this week, and I wanted everything to be fresh, and I wanted to be excited about going. And then this is what happens. I'm excited for a moment about going, and then I enter the park, and it's in the worst state I've ever seen it in. It is gross. It is filthy and dirty and gross and really poorly maintained. And it was like, that really set the mood for the day, that everything was so filthy. And even people I was with who hadn't been to the park in years even noticed some of those things. Like, I didn't even prompt some of the comments about things not working or not looking good. These are people that do not go all the time who still noticed that things were off. Of course, you may remember we used to do a maintenance report here at WDWNT, which would catalog things that were not as they should be, whether they were not well maintained, broken, not functioning, missing, whatever the case may be. It got a lot of attention, both from readers and viewers, and also from inside the Walt Disney Company. We were contacted several times about it, and even most famously, one of the Brer Bear animatronics on Splash Mountain had been missing its tail for, I think, about 14 years. And the week after we started the maintenance report, the tail miraculously reappeared on the bear. So with that being said, having seen the state the parks are in now, I guess the time has probably come for us to do that again, because it seems someone needs to shame someone into doing it, which is not at all the way this business should function, but it's gotten to that point where just the parks look awful. They just don't look good. And so we are going to go back to doing that maintenance report in January. We're going to bring that back because it's time, right? We have passed the point. We gave them a couple years during COVID to get back in the swing of things. But now the parks are very full. Most things have reopened. There's very few things left that haven't reopened, and if they haven't reopened at this point, they're likely not coming back. So we're back at regular operations now. We're charging, we've been charging full price. Resorts are plenty full. All these things. It is time to have accountability. I know it's going to take some time to snap out of the Chapek years. It's going to take some time. It's not, you don't fire the CEO and overnight everything changes. That's not realistic. I do believe in current management. I believe there's a lot for them to handle. There's a lot for them to fix. And this may not be the highest thing on the list. It may not be the first thing that shows up on the radar, but nonetheless, it probably needs to be brought to the forefront, and that's where we come in, right? Customer advocacy is a big part of what we've done here for 15 years. And it was a big part of our fight with Chapek, and it would be disingenuous to not continue that fight just because he's gone, right? So if we have to pick up and sort of point out where things, where the remnants of that regime are still in place, whether it's in maintenance or custodial or wherever it may be, that's the job, and we're gonna get back to that. And I am hopeful that all this will be addressed. Maybe even in a couple weeks, by the time we start to list up, things will be a little better. But it's clearly time for the Walt Disney World maintenance report to return. Speaking of things returning, the American Adventure finally reopened last week. The attraction and World Showcase at EPCOT had been closed since mid-September. The carpeting throughout the attraction had been replaced, and in some places maybe just very deeply cleaned. What we were told was that all of it had been replaced. The show itself is the same as it has been since 2018, when the finale montage and many other things were updated. It's worth noting, I know people, other websites have claimed that there was extensive refurbishment, that they took things down to the studs, that they rebuilt animatronics. None of that is accurate. We know people who worked on this refurbishment project. None of that is real. I would assume maybe these people just don't visit the American Adventure very often. It looks as good. They did a great job, that 2018-19 refurbishment. They did a tremendous job fixing the attraction. Looked better than ever. It's had its moments since then, but it still looks pretty good. And so, yeah, a lot of recarpeting, but nonetheless, the American Adventure is now back. This program is brought to you by our official travel agent sponsor, The Vacationeer, the engineers of your next magical vacation. Sit back and let their team of vacation planning experts craft your family's next magical Disney trip. The best part, their services are free. Visit WDWNT.travel for details. On a recent visit to EPCOT, we discovered that the Compose Your Own Figment game has returned to ImageWorks at the Imagination Pavilion. The game debuted first at EPCOT in 2011. Compose Your Own Figment, which is in the post-show of Journey to Imagination with Figment, gives guests the opportunity to create their own version of one of Disney's most beloved characters. And in the end, you can email yourself, your friends, or your family your unique creation. 3 new Disney Skyliner toys have arrived in the World Traveler Shop located at Epcot's International Gateway. That's the first place we found them, at least. The latest collectibles feature Donald Duck and his family, Huey, Dewey, and Louie, and Scrooge and such. There's also one representing Finding Nemo and Finding Dory with Hank on it. And last but not least, the Guardians of the Galaxy, all catching a ride across the Walt Disney World Resort. They retail for $19.99 each. Rock and Roller Coaster starring Aerosmith at Disney's Hollywood Studios will be closed for several months in the first half of 2023. The attraction is scheduled to close for refurbishment on February 20th of 2023, with a reopening sometime in the summer of 2023. Again, the exact length of the closure is not yet known, but it would seem it could be anywhere from 3 to 6 months in length. No changes are expected as far as the on-ride experience. That could be different. We don't know. Disney has said nothing at this time. But at the very least, should include some much-needed general maintenance for the ride system. Of course, the launch itself, the last couple of years post-COVID, they've been down a lot. They've had a lot of issues. So it's a long overdue refurbishment. I think this is the first of these. I know People Mover ended up being closed for like a year. This is the first of those real big refurbishments they're doing post-COVID. It's been a while since they've embarked on one of these. Oga's Cantina at Disney's Hollywood Studios has a new version of the Battle of Endor Tiki mug available with the Yub Nub drink. The first edition of the mug, which launched with the opening of Oga's Cantina at both the Disneyland and Walt Disney World resorts, was a light brown color. The new mug is $46 with the Yub Nub drink, which is quite delicious, by the way. The second edition is turquoise in color. Again, we got it at Hollywood Studios, but it should be available soon at Disneyland. Since our last voyage aboard the Halcyon, new merchandise has arrived for the Star Wars Galactic Starcruiser, home to the 2-night immersive experience that also includes 2 opportunities to buy exclusive merchandise. One for the in-universe themed merchandise on board the ship, and another to buy Star Wars branded souvenirs when you depart. At the Chandrila collection, you'll finally find that Sabacc chip set for $79.99. It's a set of Sabacc chips to use with your Sabacc cards. The chips have orange centers featuring the Chandrila Starline logo. The edges are bronze, gold, and silver. And the Halcyon, there's also a Halcyon Starcruiser training shield. This is a new version of the item for $34.99. It's a cheaper plastic sort of toy version of the $150 shield that was available previously. It's still available. It's based on the shields guests used during the lightsaber training. Then at the exit shop, you'll find the Galactic Starcruiser shot glass for $9.99, or toothpick holder, if you want to go by what Disney calls them. It has the Star Wars Galactic Starcruiser logo on one side and the Chandrila Starline logo on the other side. We also discovered another Resistance secret while we were aboard the Galactic Starcruiser. Astute guests can purchase exclusive covert Resistance pins from a hidden compartment in the Chandrila Collection gift shop aboard the Halcyon. The compartment is visible on the front of the display case in the center of the store, beneath the jewelry and exclusive lightsaber. Guests need to ask a cast member about it to gain access, but be careful. They may not open it if there's too much first order activity around. Cast members open the compartment with a special key, and inside are 3 limited release Halcyon pins that secretly feature the Resistance logo. There's the Halcyon Spinner Resistance pin for $17.99, the Slider pin for $15.99, and the Flip pin for $15.99. I know the price of this excursion is insane, but little things like this, it is such a special thing. I did just come back from another Starcruiser voyage, and I have a lot of, you would think I wouldn't have more thoughts, but I really have enough for another honest review, and probably when Jake comes back, if Southwest ever gives him another flight home, when Jake comes back, we'll sit down and record another honest review of the Starcruiser, because I have so many things I want to talk about. We'll get there. The new Carousel coffee shop at Disney's BoardWalk Inn is now open, along with the seating area across from it. It's located in the lobby, replacing Dundee Sundries, which closed permanently in October. Carousel coffee is done in soft gray, cream, tan, blue, and gold tones, but mostly the gray. It has an overall modern resort feel to it, for better or for worse. On one side is a grab-and-go station with assorted pastries, parfaits, snacks, and assorted beverages. And the pastry case has an assortment of snacks and breakfast items, including their signature crunchy raspberry Danish, vintage Mickey and Minnie sugar cookies, as well as assorted cereals. And next to the self-serve cases are 2 toasters, a plastic utensil dispenser, and straws. And one wall has a vintage photograph of Goofy taking a spin in the Mad Tea Party attraction at Magic Kingdom. In addition to large cookies, there are also smaller cookies bundled in packages you can buy. And hanging over a second condiment station is another photograph of the Magic Kingdom, this one of Prince Charming Regal Carousel. Carousel Coffee serves Joffrey's Coffee and Tea Company branded products, along with a selection of baked goods. Beverages include standard caffeinated and decaffeinated coffee, espresso macchiatos, nitro cold brews, hot cocoa, pomegranate green tea lemonade, and more. You can see the full menu and prices on our website. We decided to review a couple of items: the crunchy raspberry Danish for $4.29, the vintage Mickey and Minnie sugar cookies for $4.29, and the one item everyone's talking about, the cinnamon bun frozen blended coffee for $5.99, which is Joffrey's Coffee cold brew blended with cinnamon bun syrup, milk, and mocha topped with whipped cream. You can watch the review also right here on our channel. Alessa and the gang were nice enough to go do that for us today. Carousel Coffee at the BoardWalk is currently scheduled to be open from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. daily. We got to stop and talk about it because everyone's talking about it on Twitter and Instagram and everywhere. This is one of the plainest, most drab, most awful interiors I have ever seen them do. And the timing is impeccable. Just days after all this discourse about the Grand Floridian lobby remodeling and what's going to happen to the lobby at the BoardWalk, we see this. It is not a good sign, folks. If someone wants to pump the brakes on those lobby refurbs, it would be great. It might be too late, but it'd be great, because if it turns out like the interior of this, man, it's like a gray, those cast members are working in a gray box making coffee. That is rough. Quite a bit of attractions are scheduled for refurbishment through June of 2023 at the Tokyo Disney Resort. So let's take a look at the refurbishment schedule that was recently updated for both Disneyland and Disney Sea. At Disneyland, the Swiss Family Treehouse will be closing April 1st for an undetermined amount of time. Pirates of the Caribbean is already closed until April 7th, the Blue Bayou until April 9th. Cafe Orleans will be closed. It already closed December 1st. It'll reopen after March 31st. The Haunted Mansion is closed January 5th to January 25th to remove the holiday overlay. Eastside Cafe is closed January 10th to February 12th. Grandma Sarah's Kitchen inside Splash Mountain is closed January 10th to March 10th. Gadget's Go Coaster, January 12th to February 1st. Donald's Boat, January 12th to February 1st. Chippendale's Treehouse, January 12th to March 27th. The Tokyo Disneyland Electrical Parade Dreamlights will be dark from January 16th to the 29th. Splash Mountain will be closed for routine maintenance January 18th to February 17th. Peter Pan's Flight from January 28th to March 14th. The Penny Arcade from February 1st to the 22nd. Goofy's Paint and Playhouse in Toontown from February 8th to the 15th. Roger Rabbit's Cartoon Spin from February 20th to March 17th. Alice's Tea Party, April 3rd to the 17th. Space Mountain, April 17th to June 21st, even though it's closing forever in like a year. It's wild. Pinocchio's Daring Journey, April 18th to May 1st. And Dumbo the Flying Elephant, May 10th to May 25th. The Mark Twain Riverboat will be closed May 10th to June 28th. And Buzz Lightyear's Astro Blasters, May 11th to October 31st. Meanwhile, the Castle Carousel is closed June 12th to June 22nd. Snow White's Adventures, June 19th to June 23rd. The Jungle Cruise, June 27th to July 28th. And the Meet Mickey in front of Main Street House, July 3rd to September 13th. If that seems like a lot, it is, because they do actual annual maintenance at Tokyo Disney Resort. That's only one park. We still have to talk about Disney Sea. The Village Greeting Place is closed August 1st to January 9th. Indiana Jones Adventure Temple of the Crystal Skull, January 10th to February 7th. The Saludos Amigos Greeting Dock, January 10th to June 30th. Sultan's Oasis, January 10th to February 28th. The Venetian Gondolas from January 16th to February 4th. Restaurant Sakura from January 16th, one day, I guess. The Blowfish Balloon Race, January 17th to January 27th. Fortress Explorations, it's a long one, February 1st to June 30th. Turtle Talk, March 1st to March 6th. The Caravan Carousel from March 10th to March 13th. Raging Spirits, the roller coaster, May 12th to June 14th. And Jasmine's Flying Carpets, June 13th to August 3rd, which we assume is to accommodate the construction of the entrance of Fantasy Springs, which is quickly approaching. It'll open in 2024, of course. Please note that these dates are subject to change. They're subject to, but they probably won't, because Japan loves to keep these on schedule. After 5 years of operation, Disneyland Paris has sold their stake in the Village Nature Paris Hotel, but the resort will remain open under the full management of Center Parcs Europe. The Village Nature Paris Resort opened in September of 2017 after years of extensive and innovative design led by famed former Disney Imagineer Joe Rohde. Though it started as a joint partnership project between Disneyland Paris and Center Parcs Europe, the former has decided to pull out of the project following a brief but costly 5 years in operation. The resort was built 6 kilometers from Disneyland Paris and 40 kilometers from Paris proper and serves as an educational escape rooted in ecotourism. Village Nature Paris boasts 5 distinct lands that offer a working farm, a lagoon, gardens, forests, and a lake. And each land aims to provide an escape to nature while offering lessons in sustainability. Despite Disneyland Paris resolving ownership of the resort, the collaboration between the European Disney theme park and their original partners is expected to continue. Center Parcs, who oversees Center Parcs Europe, will maintain complete control of the resort, but maintains that they will, quote, continue to work with Disneyland Paris for marketing communications. Village Nature Paris Hotel has become a key option for accommodations for guests visiting the resort. Despite pulling out of its management, the hotel is still available for booking on the official Disneyland Paris website, but it does not appear as an official Disney hotel offering. Park tickets are also still available when booking Village Nature Paris through Disneyland Paris's website. And following their full acquisition, Center Parcs Europe has already announced their plans for expanding it. Several phases of expansion were planned as part of their initial partnership with Disneyland. Lackluster attendance halted those plans. The group plans now to add 193 new resort rooms by 2025. And in addition, the company wants to add a wild river to the existing water park Aqua Lagoon, one of the 5 themed areas in the facility, and funding is already in place. For the absolute latest on these stories and all those that didn't make it into today's show, be sure to check out WDWNT.com and follow us on all your favorite social media platforms. You can support the entire team behind this show and others by joining the WDWNT Interglobe Society at patreon.com/WDWNT. Get access to exclusive content, discounted show and event tickets, and more. In fact, there is a Zoom with Tom for some of our highest level members this evening. Special shout out to all of our WIGS members who make the show happen each and every week. For the worldwide leader in Disney Parks news, this is Tom Corliss saying, enjoy the rest of your today. Have a great, big, beautiful tomorrow.
Welcome to Deep in the Plus. Each week, join host Rob Whiteside as he and a panel of Disney superfans take a different movie or TV show from the Disney Plus catalog. They'll tell you its history, details, and give their review, so you'll know if it's worth your time. Current shows, classic movies, and everything in between. Watch Deep in the Plus live Wednesday nights at 9 Eastern for new episodes, or catch Deep in the Plus anytime on YouTube on WDWNT TV.